record on this computer. So here we go. I'm going to show you how to make a chart for your science project. Now you need to make a chart before you do the experiment so you can collect your data in an organized fashion. The simplest way is on paper. I'm going to show you that first, and then I'll show you how to do it using a program online. So when you make a chart, it usually has two axes, something across the top and something down the side. In my case, since I'm doing 3 kinds of airplanes and I'm going to do 3 trials, I think I'll just do it like this. Trial 1, T1, T2, and T3. And then I'm going to have a column for the average, which means when I'm trying to decide which one goes the farthest, if in one trial one goes 2 and another one goes 6, how do I compare that to one that goes 5 and one that goes 3? I'm going to have to average the numbers. You should have learned that in 4th grade, which means you add them all together and divide them by 3. So I'm going to write average at the back. So now I have trial 1, trial 2, trial 3, and average. And then down this side, I'm going to put my airplane style 1, airplane 1, airplane 2, and airplane style 3. So this is the style of plane. And then when I throw it, I've decided I'm going to measure mine in meters, because the nice thing about meters is I can put like 10.2, but with feet and inches, I have to put like 1 foot 2 inches. It doesn't work quite as well for calculating. So I'm going to give it a title. You need a title for your chart. And this is length of airplane flight. Now I just did a pretty sloppy one. You're going to want to take your time and do it carefully. And somewhere in that chart, you're going to want to put in meters, your unit of measurement. So I've got my title. I have my x-axis, which I've got my trials here with average, and I've got my types of airplanes. Now I'm ready to collect my data. I can throw it once, record my data here, throw it again, record my data here, throw it a 3rd time, record my data here. Later on, I'll use a calculate and add those 3 numbers together and divide them by 3 to average them. Then I'm going to do that again for my 2nd airplane and for my 3rd airplane. Now, if I were doing, for example, observing something changing over time, I would want to make what's called a rubric, and I would want to record my data in that. So let's say I'm going to say that a 0 equals no change to what I'm observing. That a 1 equals a very slight change of any way, like if I'm looking for mold, very little change. A 2 is like an obvious change. So there could be, if I'm looking at apples getting dark, I would look for dark apples. If I were looking at mold growing, there would be some serious mold growing. And then I would make a 3 maybe be a huge change. This could be for lots of things, right? So this is just a really simple rubric to measure. And then I would make a chart. So in a chart like this, I'm probably going to check it over time. Let's say I have 4 different things that I'm watching, like 1 apple that I didn't do anything to, 1 apple with vinegar, 1 apple with lemon juice, and 1 apple with, I don't know, what else would I put on apple? Milk. And I'm checking it to see how it changes. Then I'm going to want to decide on some increments of time across the top. And across the top, I'm going to put my increments of time. So maybe on day 1, or maybe I do it every 6 hours. I don't know. You have to decide how much time. So I might do day 1, day 2, and day 3. And each day I might check it once. In the case of your melting chocolate, you're going to want to check it a lot more frequently than that, right? Like right away, like after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or something like that, Amadi. So in this case, I have the time across here, and after 1 day, I'm going to check it, and I'm going to give everybody a score. The first apple gets a 1, slight change. The vinegar apple gets a 2. The lemon juice apple gets a 0, no change at all, and the milk apple gets maybe a 3. And then I do it again on day 2 and day 3. And then remember, I have to average, so I got to make 1 more column where I average what happened to it. And I'm going to add up all my numbers and divide them by 3 to see who had, on average, the biggest change. So this is another way to set up your chart. It's really going to depend on your topic how you set up your chart. But if you have a rubric, you still need a chart to collect your data. Let's look at it online. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you how to use Google Sheets for this. Maybe you've been shown this before, but if I go to a new tab or if you go to your BSD bookmarks or apps, you can click on there and you can click on Google Sheets. You can also go to your Drive and get Google Sheets, but that's what you want is Google Sheets. So you can click here or I can click on my Drive. If I go to Google Drive, up here I'll say New, and then it'll ask me, what do you want new? And I'll have to go down to Google Sheets. When I open up a Google Sheet, it's a big untitled spreadsheet. The first thing I want to do is title it. And I want to title it probably with my name, Ms. Law's Airplane Flight Experiment. So you want to title it with something like that. You could put in meters, you could add how long it's going to be here, but you want to give it a title. Step 1, title. Step 2, even though this says 1, 2, 3, 4, the top one is where you're going to label your top columns. This column is where you're going to label what you have. So since I have 3 different kinds of airplane, I'm going to do airplane style 1, airplane style 2, and airplane style 3. I'm not sure what those styles are going to be yet, but I'll figure that out. And then here I'm going to have trial 1 in meters, right? So how far did it go in meters? Trial 2 in meters and trial, and you're going to want to do this, guys, because you're going to love this next part, in meters. If you need to watch this video again, you can watch it again later. And then here I'm going to write average. I'm going to show you some tricks. So now this is ready to collect data, which is cool. So if I were to throw the first airplane and let's say it goes 6 meters, and then I throw it again and it goes only 4 meters, and then I throw it again and it goes 3.5 meters, 3.5 meters. And then I do the next airplane tomorrow and I throw it really hard and it goes 10 meters. Wow. But then my next throw only goes 2 meters and my third one only goes, I don't know, it goes 8.7 meters. My last airplane, I throw it and it goes 5, kind of in the middle. And then it goes 6, and then it goes 7. Well, without the averages, it's really hard to tell which one of these is the best airplane. So I'm going to want to highlight all 3 of these cells. And if you look down at the bottom down here in green, this little thing popped up that says sum. If you click the button, do you see where it says average? You can click that and it immediately tells you your average. It automatically does it. It has added those 3 numbers up and divided them by 3. And my average is 4.5 meters. 4.5 meters. Excellent. Now I'm going to do these 3 and average them. I'm just going to highlight them. Look down at the bottom. It popped up right away. 6.9 meters. 6.9 meters. And finally, these last 3, I'm going to highlight them down at the bottom. You see it? 6 meters. It automatically averaged it. Well, now I can see that my middle airplane, style 2, went the furthest, and that's cool. But what's even cooler, you guys, you're going to love this, is if you highlight your information. So you want to highlight it all, okay? Then you want to go up to the top where you have all these little pictures, and you want to click on this one that says Insert Chart. I'm going to click on that. And here's where the magic happens. So I go to Insert Chart, and it automatically makes a chart for me. And you can see it says Trial 1, Trial 2, Trial 3 in meters. So each one of those shows how far it went, which is kind of cool. Or I can click over here on this right-hand side where it says Column Chart, and I can change it to a different kind of a chart, a line chart, a combo chart, An area chart. I kind of like this one, which shows your 3 trials. Stacked bars. You could look at a scatter chart. It's kind of hard to read that one. Anyway, the neat thing is it will make it into a chart of all sorts. So you can pick the one that you like. That one's kind of weird. That one didn't work. I kind
And
of
then
like this. I kind of like this bar one. So this shows me my airplane style 1 and my 3 trials, my airplane style 3 or 2 and my 3 trials, and my airplane style 3 and my 3 trials. And I can see that my airplane style 2 really did the best of all 3 of them. I like how this one looks. Now I have a choice with this chart. I can click up here in these 3 dots in the corner of the chart and it will say move it to its own sheet. So if I do that, it actually makes another sheet down here. See where this one says chart or sheet and this one says chart. And then it says copy chart and I can copy it and I can go to my Google Doc that I have open at the top and I can paste it into my doc. So it's right there. Look at that. I can look at the style of plane and I can see that trial 1, 2, and 3, that my yellow plane did the best, or I guess it was style 2 that did the best. Anyway, if I don't like that chart, I can get rid of it and I can paste in my new chart that I just made. When I paste it, I can link it to a spreadsheet or I can paste it unlinked.
wait, does it have to be filled with information right
Well, no, because I made up my information. So for today, you can't really put the information in. And in fact, that's a really good point. What I might want to do for today, just so that I can check and see if you have a good chart, is just before I fill this information in, I'm going to actually get rid of all of this because this is not even real, right? I made
Wait, Miss Laws, I was away trying to get paper to write a paper chart, but then when I saw this, I wanted to switch.
because it's
So
kind
I
of
did.
fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
so I
if
couldn't
I
see how
highlight
you got
this
there.
like this, Eli, if I just go like that and I go control copy, control C, I think I can just paste this into my document for today since I haven't done the experiment yet. I'm going to get rid of that one and paste that one in, unlinked. There it is. So there's my plain chart before I've done anything with it. And tomorrow I can show you how to play around with that chart again. But for today, this is kind of what you need is just a way to collect the data. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So again, let me show you those steps, your 1, 2, 3 steps. Step 1, you got to go to your Google Drive. You have all sorts of ways to get there and open up Sheets. If you forget what it is, it's got this little green cross on it. So Google Sheets. That's step 1. Step 2, you're going to title it. Maybe it's moldy experiment. Maybe it is like Javen, uh, bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. And then what you're going to want to do is you might want to include 2 things in this. Here's something neat you could do with the bubbles experiment. You could put the 3 trials here. Remember, you have to have 3 trials. Trial 1, trial 2,
Wait, how do you make that type of doc again? Because I didn't see how you do it.
trial 3. You go to Sheets. You just open up a Sheets. And then over here, I don't know what you're trying, Javen, on your bubble machine. Maybe you're trying it with different amounts of dry ice, right? So
Yep.
over here, you might put amount of ice. Oh, sorry. So here you could put 1 piece, 2 pieces. I don't know how you're measuring your ice, and 3 pieces. Now that's your chart and you're ready to record, except that you probably have a rubric. So you're going to want to put your rubric in here too, and you can just put it below. You can put it right here and you can say 0 equals no bubbles. And then you go to the next one and you say 1 equals 1 small bubble. 2 equals more than 1 small bubble. So it could be 1 big bubble or 2 small bubbles. And 3 equals lots of bubbles or a huge bubble. but you have to have your way to measure it right on this chart. Then what you can do is copy the whole thing. And again, Control C will copy it, or you can go up here to edit and do copy, right? Then you just go to your chart, wherever it is, and you go down to the spot that says that you're putting your chart in and you paste it in, unlinked. Boom, there it is. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So Javen, you may want something like that. Either way, I'd like you guys to play around with this Google Sheets and see what you can do. And I can help you with it. If you'd like, you can just mute your screen and stay with me. Or if you want to go into breakout rooms, you can. What do you guys want to do?